Hey friends! I wanted to make a quick video about 5 libraries and plugins that I've been using recently and having a ton of fun with. They do really add a unique quality to anything I put them on, and I thought maybe it will help a couple of beginner video game, film, TV composers who were just like me 3 years ago thinking what should they get that's kinda cool. So I had a whole serious video planned with this and I threw away the script. I thought, you know what, we'll just do it live, have a bit of fun with it and see where we can go. Disclaimer, I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I bought all of these with my own money. I just love the product so much that I have to talk about them. Links to everything will be down there in the doobly-doo. And without further ado, let's get on with the list. First on the list is going to be Rhythmic Textures by Heavyocity. Now, I have to say I love Heavyocity so much. I love every single product they do. I own most of them. They really have that own modern sci-fi vibe to any instrument that they make, really. But Rhythmic Texture for me is really nice because it does have a very different quality compared to an organic string section. So it does come with violins, viola and cello. They all have rhythmic loops which are sometimes 7 bar, sometimes 12, a bit unpredictable, but they also have this really nice texture designer, rhythmic texture designer I think it's called, where you can mash up different sections and effects together, and this I love to use it for drones and background rhythm sections. It does leads really nice as well, but I do find myself using more in the background for underscores, for example. It is awesome for this. Another product I could have put on this list as well was Intimate Texture by Heavyocity, or maybe Olafur Arnold's Chamber Evolution by Spitfire Audio. These do have a very intimate and subtle quality to any string section. They do give a very modern sound and they're just a ton of fun. So I think you should check all of them out. On with number 2. So number 2 is a very recent addition to my personal list, and it's not a library, it's a plugin, which is Valhalla Supermassive by Valhalla DSP. Valhalla DSP makes, I'm gonna say Valhalla a lot in this video, I feel like. They make really affordable and high quality reverb and delay plugins normally, but they just released a couple of days ago Supermassive for absolutely free. I think you should not sleep on it because it is fantastic. I've been putting it on found sounds, synth bass lines, short strings. It turns anything into that very spacey, massive, gigantic vibe. I absolutely love it. I think for me it's going to be my new favorite space sound. I still keep Eventide Black Hole, which I love to death. I have the plugin. I do not unfortunately own the hardware version. If you can get it, get it. Otherwise, I would also put maybe Valhalla Shimmer on the list. Incredible. Really my go-to space, ambient, atmosphere vibe. Next on the list for me is going to be Little Alterboy by Soundtoys. I discovered Soundtoys and this plugin after watching an interview from my all-time favorite composer Jason Graves, who explained he was using it to make the sounds of the war horns for the soundtrack of Far Cry Primal, and I was hooked as soon as I heard the demo. It is a pitch shifter, but it does have a drive knob and a drive knob and a mixer knob, which allows you to really sculpt the sound the way you want. What I typically do is record anything, stretch it by 50%, 2 or sometimes even 3 little Alterboy on it, why not? Drop down 12 semitones, link the formant and the pitch, put a bit of drive, almost full width, and then just add a ton of reverb and you get these massive low growly sounds that I can use in any soundtrack that I want. I absolutely love this plugin. It is really part of my workflow now. I use it on everything. Something else I would put maybe on this list instead of Alterboy would be any plugin that uses the pulse stretch algorithm, which is this really cool program which stretches to massive lengths any sound. It's more of a pad maker than a pitch shifter, but I think for me the two really work well together, and you can just save them then into your own contact library and recall them anytime you want. Next on the list is going to be Requiem Lite by Soundiron. Soundiron is another company that I really love. It's technically the company that got me into video game composing, because I had no idea before finding about them that it was possible to control an orchestra from your computer and do it for 40 euros if you use their micro instrument series, I think it's called. These we'll take a look at in a separate video because I think they do deserve it, but Requiem Lite is really the plugin that puts a smile on my face every time I use it. I cannot stop playing Star Wars with it. It's a male and female choir that's got legato, O's, A's, sustains, staccatos, but also a very well built syllable builder, which does allow you to either go with sustains or staccato per vowel, per syllable. And it also has a crossfade function that means that you can get really long phrases before it starts getting repetitive, which is often an issue in choir libraries. Normally I tend to put choir instruments quite far at the back of the mix because sampled voices are quite a tell for the listener to know that this was not recorded live. However, I do find that this is not an issue with Requiem Lite. I can push it quite far up front without it sounding synthetic or wrong. It does come as well, like every Soundiron product, with its own sound design capabilities. They do have recorded choir effects, stomps, claps, but also pads and swells. I do find myself using these more than I expected, but the library itself is amazing. I think you should give it a try if you've never heard about it. Something else maybe instead if you already own it and looking for something a bit different. Oceania by Performance Samples, amazing library. It's more in the epic vibe, but it's extremely playable. I would also like to mention Cinesample Voices of War, because it's my instant go-to Skyrim / God of War vibe when you put it on any type of music. So have fun with these. And lastly on the list, I would like to talk about, for me, a groundbreaking instrument, which is Native Instrument Frill. I think it was developed by Galaxy Instrument, which also made Unicorda and Noir. We also released the Mysteria library lately. I've not tried this one yet, but Frill, if you are going to write anything in the horror, suspense, thriller genre, you absolutely need to get your hands of it. Hands off it? You need to get your hands on it. For me, it is just an amazing instrument because for the first time, it really gives you incredible playability and control over aleatoric, orchestral, and hybrid instruments. You can really put even a synth bass line into context with having fill making the atmosphere, but you can also use it to build clusters really depending on what's going on in the image. So for video games, if you're scoring a cinematic, for example, perfect. I use it a lot for custom risers and downers. I can really tune and dial up where I want each instrument to be at which moment in the picture. And then at the end of the project, I tend to just save them as WAV files, either put them into Contact or on a local folder, and I can just reuse them anytime I want. It's a really, really good library, and I think you should check it out if you're going to write anything in this genre. And even if you're not, try it anyways. If you have a friend, maybe you can borrow the license or something. Just go to their house once we can actually get out of lockdown. Give it a try. I do like to pair it with anything that is thriller oriented, like the amazing Zebra Tunguska, I think it's supposed to be pronounced, by The Unfinished. Amazing soundscape. If you get a chance to try it, go try it. I will probably put some examples of context with frill with a bass line. For me, it's one of my go-to ways to using frill as well. Incredible instrument, I really suggest you get it. So, I hope this was helpful for some of you guys. I know I found myself in this situation 2 or 3 years ago when I didn't know which library to buy outside of just the standard strings or brass section. So, if you have an instrument that you really like and you think it's fun and you would like to share with the community, please make sure to write it down below. I'll answer to all of the comments, of course, but other than that, I hope this was helpful. Until next time, see ya. Get on with the list. First, coffee. That's not coffee, that's tea. What am I saying?